Hey everyone, welcome back to the kitchen. How's your week? Everything been well, I hope? Great week over here, beautiful weather, some rain, some not, but hey, it's summer, it's hot, so rain is always nice. I'm excited about today. I think I say that every week, and it's true, I always am. I get a kick out of this cooking. I love doing this. I get to do it every day. I don't always get to do it in front of a camera, but I love it every time I get to do it, and especially on Italian food days. I'm Italian, so I'm biased. It's very exciting. Usually involves pasta. Great stuff. So today, this was another suggestion, another request. I was very moved by this. A very long-standing family friend, someone that I've always thought just the highest of when I was growing up. He reached out to me on Facebook and asked me to make marinara sauce. Old school, old-fashioned marinara sauce. And I thought it was really sweet just for the request because it meant he's been watching the videos. So thank you for that. I love it. I was moved by it. I was moved by the request, and I was excited to make it because any excuse for this household to get a big plate of pasta, we'll take it any chance we can get. So today we are going to make marinara sauce. We're going to do it from scratch. You're going to see how easy it is and how very little you really need in order to do it. So many recipes out there. I say that a lot too because frankly it's true. There's recipes everywhere for everything, and they vary depending on what you like and how you like it. A lot of recipes, especially when it comes to making sauces like this, call for canned tomatoes, canned stewed tomatoes, cans of tomato paste. Those are all great. They're all fine. We're not using those today. We are making our marinara sauce with fresh Roma tomatoes. No cans, no paste, all fresh, hand-cut ingredients. Makes it light, stays healthy, and I get a kick out of getting to use all the gadgets and the knives, and it's just fun. So, let's go over a couple things before we get started. First of all, this does not take anywhere near as long as you might think, as you might have seen on TV or heard in a commercial. It can, sure. It can be a hassle and it can take a lot of time, but it doesn't have to. This should all take an hour-ish at the most. And a lot of it's the prep and the cutting. So here's what I've done so far. I took one whole white onion and chopped it up into small pieces. See? I took 4 cloves of garlic, fresh garlic. I love fresh garlic. Chopped that up into fine pieces. I bought an entire package of fresh basil, and what you want with the basil is you want 4 tablespoons. So I chopped it all up to see how much I would get, and I got a little over 4 tablespoons. So I measured 4 tablespoons of fresh chopped basil, put that in there, and then I went ahead and chopped up 2 tablespoons of fresh dried parsley. I love parsley. And when I say dried, I mean I bought it at the store, brought it home, washed it, dried it out really well, and then chopped it up really small and measured out 2 tablespoons. And our obvious most important ingredient is our tomatoes. Again, we're not using any cans, we're not using any tomato paste. We're just using regular old tomatoes. You want to kind of be particular about what tomatoes you're getting when you're making marinara sauce. These are Romas. Romas make a fantastic marinara sauce. I would not use something like a beefsteak tomato. That's a whole different flavor profile. Stick to something on the lighter and sweeter side like a Roma. Love them. And all I did, cut it in half, cut the core off, and chopped them into chunks. Doesn't matter really how big, but I just cut it up. Do you have to remove the seeds? Some people will say yes, some people will say no. It depends on how you want your sauce to look. It's all about the aesthetics, and this channel is all about the aesthetics and making restaurant quality food, yeah? You don't need to remove the seeds because of flavor. The seeds are not going to change the flavor of the sauce. They're not going to make it too bitter. They're not going to take away from the bitterness. It doesn't make a difference. I removed some, not all, but I just chopped it up into pieces like that. The reason why I'm not concerned with removing all of the seeds and worrying about the aesthetics is because we are going to blend it all together at the end with an immersion blender just to kind of bring it all and smooth it out a little bit and make it pretty for the kids. If you like really chunky sauce, which we do, my wife and I also love light, chunky sauce, you don't need to really blend it. We're going to do it today. That way you can see how it looks, how it smooths it out and makes that final presentation. So like I said, I'm not worried about removing the seeds. What we are going to do though is do all of this on the stove. You're going to see how easy it is, not horribly time consuming. And what you just saw, the prep is done. We chopped the tomatoes, we chopped up onion, garlic, basil, and parsley. I'm done. Yes. Let's get to cooking. So first things first, what you want to make sure you have nice big Dutch oven, nice big pot to make your sauce in. Always nice to have some room to play, let things settle together. Makes life a lot easier. We are going to take 3 tablespoons, give or take, of extra virgin olive oil. 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. And I'm going to go ahead and drop that fresh chopped garlic right in there and let that start to get hot. There is 100% an order of operation for how to make this happen and how to make it happen correctly. So we'll get the garlic in there and we'll let that start to get hot. And as that's getting hot, we're going to go ahead and add the onion as well. And we're going to allow the onion and the garlic to start to saute together, allow for some translucency, allow for some softness, and allow for some flavor to really start to emerge. And again, I have it on a medium-high heat. We are at some point throughout the process going to bring this up to a boil. So we keep it up high for now. It's not going to hurt anything. We'll turn it down a little lower later. But for now, let's get it started. Let's get that sizzle, because it's really no fun cooking on the stove when you don't hear a sizzle. I lose all motivation when there's no sizzle going on. So we're going to go ahead and let that get started, and let that sizzle up. And then we'll add our onion and get those cooking. So the first thing I'm looking for, the first sign that things are really starting to happen, yeah, I hear the sizzle. Oh, yes, I hear a sizzle forming. And I also can start to smell. I'm starting to get some really strong wafting smells of garlic. Garlic starts to cook fast. And when it's cooking, it releases, just a fantastic smell. So now that I've got that sizzle and that garlic starting to go, that yellowish color is starting to become a slightly clear color with some gold in there. Let's go ahead and add our onion. 1 whole white onion. I went ahead and chopped up. And we're going to let that start to cook together. And you know, when you're cutting up your onion, you'll realize, and we've said this in other videos, onions have layers. Haha. Once you start cutting up one onion, it starts to look like a lot. You're like, whoa, I've got too much, way too much onion. No, you don't. You have one onion. No matter how you cut it, it's just one onion. One onion's not too much, especially when we have 10 tomatoes. I don't know if I said that before. 10 Roma tomatoes. That's a lot. What I'm going to get out of this at the end, one of those really big jars. You know, when you go to the store, you buy a big jar of sauce. Those are 32-ounce jars. 4 cups of sauce, which is great because then we can have leftover. Because I love pasta and sauce throughout the whole weekend. So we'll make 4 cups of sauce using 10 Roma tomatoes, 1 whole white onion, 4 cloves of garlic. Whoa! Got onion flying everywhere. But it's starting. Can you see this? Can you get a good look at this? You see that? The onions are starting to get this milky color to them. They're going to start to fade in color and get soft. That means they're cooking. That smell changes. The whole profile of the smells will start to change. You get less garlic and not so much onion. They kind of blend together, and it's kind of a nice buttery smell. I know I'm on the right track. Oh, you hear that? Oh, I love it. Now, we're going to add our tomatoes. All 10. Stir these in with the onion and garlic and oil. A teaspoon of kosher salt with a half a teaspoon of finely ground black pepper. Teaspoon of salt, finely ground black pepper. I'm just going to go ahead and stir that up. Look at that. Wow, that's beautiful. And we are going to go ahead, medium heat, cover it up, and let it sit for the next 30 minutes. Stirring it occasionally, checking it every so often, but I want to cook all that down and get those tomatoes really, really mushy. Piece of cake. How fantastic does that look? And how cool does that sound? Oh, I love that sound. Boiling down. Tomatoes are starting to really cook, get nice and soft. We're getting the liquid from the tomatoes and the onions that we're looking for. Oh, it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Our timing is going so well. From this point out, we can go ahead and keep it on a medium heat. Keep the top off. So at this point, it's been 10-12 minutes. I'm going to continue to check and stir because all I really want to do is keep it moving. And if you remember, so far all we've put in here is extra virgin olive oil, garlic, onions, tomatoes, salt and pepper. That's it. And I'm letting that cook. The next step in this process is to add our herbs. I'm going to go ahead and add the parsley, the oregano, which I didn't mention before. This is dried oregano, 1 teaspoon. It's the only dried item, not fresh cut, that I'm putting in. But I've got 1 heaping teaspoon of dry oregano and my 4 tablespoons of fresh chopped basil. I'm going to mix that in and let that all start to really take over. Now, stir that together. I don't know if you're wondering or not, you might be. If you've made marinara sauce before and you're checking this out to see how to do it differently, you might wonder why I have not removed the skin from the tomatoes, or if I'm going to remove the skin from the tomatoes. I am not. The reason why I'm not is because the flavor like this, it's great. I love it. It tastes great. Whether or not the skin is in there is not going to change the flavor. We're going to go ahead and blend it all together afterwards anyway, so it's not going to change the texture. And removing the seeds, removing the skin after you've cooked tomatoes down is a hassle. Cooking should never be a hassle. It should be fun. This is fun. Picking out seeds and straining them and removing skin is not fun. It's a hassle. So why do it? I don't need to. I've got great things going here. I'm watching my heat. I'm not going to let it get any higher. I want to keep this boil going. I'm going to keep stirring. I'm going to let that basil and parsley and oregano cook in there for a while. Let that boil a bit. Then we'll add our last piece. So at this point, now that we're really getting in there and getting all this cooked down and cooked together, the best thing to do, go ahead and lower the heat, not to a simmer, slightly above that, so on a low level, nice low, because it's boiling and it's going to stay boiling. And we're going to add the last piece, honey. Why honey? Well, all tomato sauces, all marinara sauces have some sort of sweetener in them, sugar, brown sugar, maple syrup, honey, because tomatoes are very acidic, and when you cook them, they get bitter. So you've got to bring that down. Some sauces are certainly sweeter than others, and it really depends on how sweet you like your sauce to be. But if you buy your sauce at the store, if you read the ingredients, you will see that there is some sort of sweetener, whether it be, like I said, sugar or honey or syrup. I went ahead and added 2 tablespoons of honey. I like honey because, well, it's sweet, but it's a lighter sweet. It's not as powerful, or I don't know, artificial isn't the right word, but not as powerful as sugar to me, and it's definitely not like brown sugar or a maple syrup. Honey just has a nice light sweetness to it, and that's the way we like our sauce. We don't like it overly sweet, just has a nice light sweet in there. So I've stirred in my 2 tablespoons of honey, turn the heat down to low. I'm going to let it remain on its low boil for the remaining time. We'll be coming up on 20 minutes, so I'll probably let it go 5-6 minutes more. How do you know when it's done? Well, take a look at your consistency. How do you like your sauce? If you're a chunky sauce person, take a look. How chunky does it look? Are these tomatoes obviously cooked? Are they cooked down? Are they chunky enough? Do you want to get it really, really thick? Well, we let it keep cooking. I like the sauce to be nice and light. Whether it's really chunky or smooth doesn't affect me personally. But like I said, we're going to smooth it out for everyone to see. But we like it on the lighter side, the runnier side. So I'm going to take it off in a few minutes. If I really wanted to get it good and thick, I'd let it keep going and even keep adding. But there's no need. It's got a low boil going. We'll give it a few more minutes. We'll blend it up and call it a day. Do you see what this has turned into after just 20 minutes? Everything is cooked down, has cooked together. That's a fabulous consistency. That is not too thick, not overly runny. Look at those colors. Smells fantastic. Wow, that's going to come out great. I think we have about done it. Oh, I love the way this looks and smells. Oh, fantastic. It's going to be so hot. You pick up a pot like this that's been sitting on the stove for almost 40 minutes without mitts. You'll do it once, you'll never do it again. Just a tip. Ha. We did it. Our sauce is done. What we are going to do now is optional, just like everything that was put in here today was optional, and there's always more you can add to it. Maybe you like your sauce spicy. If you do, crushed red peppers, maybe put in there, some red pepper flakes, fresh peppers that you want to chop up and throw in, cayenne pepper. Maybe you want more honey. If you want to substitute sugar for honey, go right ahead. More garlic, more oil, more dried seasonings. Remember, the only dried we put in there was oregano, and then other than that, there was parsley and basil with the garlic and the onion. Simple. That's the way I like it. That's the way it should be. Easy and fun, but add what you want, take out what you want. This last step is very much up to you. You can leave it like this, serve it like this, you call it your chunky marinara sauce, or you can blend it up. We're going to blend it up. You can pour all this in a blender and give it some pulses, or if you have a stand-up immersion blender, you can do it with one of these. Whatever you do, you don't, especially if you put it in a blender, don't just put it in, turn it on, and leave it. We're just going to give it some pulses. We're not going to do too much because you don't really need to. We just want to let it come together. See? Not a lot. Stop for a moment, take a look. Give it a couple little more. You will make a mess, by the way, so just allow it to happen. Have fun with it. See, I'm going around and finding the chunks of tomato and zapping those. Done. Our marinara sauce is ready to go. All we need now is some pasta, which is just, water's about to be boiling, so we'll get that going. And the only other item that would really complete this, make this meal amazing, let's pull these out of the oven. Oh. How about some meatballs? Yes. Look at those. So now, let's go over how to make some meatballs to go with your marinara sauce. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. If you'd like to see how to make the meatballs as well, go back. Look through all the videos that we have. Go back to the first one. It's where we made these meatballs. Exact same recipe. They're just about ready to come out of the oven. I just need to temp them. And we're going to have meatballs and spaghetti for dinner. Oh, wow, this is going to be great. Check out that video to complement this video. And you can check out the quick tip on how to properly boil your pasta. Put all three videos together and that's a meal right there. Have you subscribed to this channel yet? Please do so if you haven't. Click that subscribe button. Turn on your notifications so you can see how to do all this. You can see what's coming up in the future. Subscribe. It's fun. We're having a blast. Please give this video a thumbs up. Share it with everybody you know. Hit subscribe, 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 subscribe. Please. Enjoy this, folks. Please make it. Let me know how it comes out. Shoot me some comments below. Maybe some more suggestions of things you'd love to see. I'd love to make them. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy next week. And I'll see everyone in a few days. Oh, take care. Bye-bye.